We learned today that Pete Buttigieg, the former Transportation Secretary in the past administration, former presidential candidate, will not be running for the United States Senate in Michigan. However, this leaves open the door for a possible 2028 run. It also comes alongside talks of Rahm Emanuel jumping into the race. Gavin Newsom talking to every Republican under the sun, essentially, with his podcast as a mad dash for him to the middle. Now, there's been no official announcement, but let us tell you unofficially, the 2028 election, at least on the Democratic side, is underway. What's going on here? Because all of a sudden, this just, boom, it just happened.
I mean, I think people are recognizing that there's a lot of attention on how Democrats need to stand up and speak out for what we believe in and where the direction of the party should go. So, like, people are going to start making their case. They should. We need more voices out there talking about what the Democratic vision should be. It's not going to be President Biden. It's not going to, it's going to be new leaders stepping up. And so that's what you're seeing. And I think Wes Moore is another person that is out there, right?
Okay.
So, like, there's a lot of people putting it.
That name is bouncing around. What does your party do as all this sort of happens?
Well, keep pushing forward. We don't have a lot of time. We have 2 years, maybe 4 years. If we somehow keep the House, we got to keep pedal to the metal. I'm not surprised to see Pete Buttigieg not run. If he lost in the primary, that'd be devastating to his chances. I think with Pete, with Rahm Emanuel, who the Democrats could do a lot worse than, they're trying to rip the party back toward the middle. You've heard Rahm Emanuel talk a lot about how the social issues killed them. That's a good note. We'll see how that progresses.
Yeah, I think that their issues, the American people have rejected. The American people have embraced the President Trump's new Republican Party issues. It's mostly 80-20. The American people are with the agenda. His approval during the recent speech was about 76%, and that was from a more left-leaning.
From those who
yeah, that's right.
Watch that speech.
Yeah.
All right, you know a thing or two about Pete Buttigieg. You were basically his right hand for a couple of years. What's going on?
Well, look, I think it was a hard 4 years serving in the role that he had, and honestly, I think he deserves a little time off. But the other thing to keep in mind is that he lives in Michigan. He's talking to ordinary, everyday folks on a regular basis, and I can tell you one thing about my old boss is that he will find a way to serve, he will find a way to be relevant, and he will remain part of the conversation.
It's not, yeah?
I think the polling was devastating to him, and then he saw he could not run for the Senate and win.
I didn't see any polling that would have indicated that he wouldn't have had quite strong footing in Michigan. But again, these things are going to take time to percolate, and I think he's going to be part of it.
I think, am I crazy to say that 2028 unofficially underway, right? That's where we are.
I mean, it officially ended started November 6th, 2024. I mean, we're got to win the next election. So, I mean, it's on.
I'll give you the last word here.
Yeah, no, I think both parties are right now, everybody's jockeying for the position to be the heir apparent to Trump, to be the next in line. I think Secretary Pete may have been able to make a run in Michigan, but that carpetbagger label is real tough. Just ask Scott Brown.
All right, we'll leave it there. We'll see what your guy does. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.